What would you do if you had the power to know exactly how to get a man obsessed with you on the very first date? If you knew all of the secrets to make a man melt the first time he ever meets you, how much easier would your dating life be? Lucky for you, on today's show, we're going to be discussing 5 first date moves that will make him want you so much more. That way you can finally stop fumbling and stumbling on your dates and get those men begging to take you out again before you can even get back home. Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here present so that I know you're here present and actively participating. Welcome all you beautiful people to the show. So good to see you. I've been having some sort of weird issue with TikTok. I'd be trying to post the promotion of the show, like the intro to the show, on my TikTok page as a video, and sometimes it just doesn't work. So I don't know. I've been trying to figure that out. If anyone knows why that's not working. But welcome all you beautiful people. Good to see you here today. I see we got SH in the chat. I see we got Jade. We got Scotty, Carolina, Nisha, Adorable, Maria, Orwell. Welcome all you beautiful people. Rosemary as well. Lenalik as well. Welcome all you beautiful people in the TikTok chat. Who we got over in the YouTube chat here. We got Missy America. Missy America's, I usually shout her out last, but today it's first. We got Missy America. We got Tracy Niles. We got Enlightened A, one of our OGs. Ivy, of course. Cashley, her twin. And I see Sonia here. Who else we got here? Tracy Niles was #1 today. Irina, and much more in the YouTube chat. Welcome all you beautiful people. I'm going to make sure that we get the YouTube chat here up on the screen so there's no confusion. We want the YouTube chat to feel part of the conversation. Okay, and let's get started today. You know we don't like to waste too much time in the intro. Okay, so #1 today that we're going to be discussing, first things first, I want us to be on the same page about, is fixation and fascination. Okay, so #1 is fixation and fascination. Now, when I say fixation and fascination, what I'm referring to, why this is such a great move on your first date, right? And this is such a great idea to make the guy want you more, because all the things we're going to discuss today is about getting him enchanted with you, because when he's enchanted with you, you'll be able to extract information from him, and he won't realize that you're extracting information from him because he'll be so excited to tell you everything he's thinking and everything he's feeling and everything that's on his mind. And #2, you'll be winning because the more information you get, the easier it will be for you to decide, is this the guy that you're looking for or not? It'll also make it very easy for him to take off this mask and him to present you more of what he actually is like, as opposed to telling you what you want to hear, and you'll be getting real information instead of that fake information that you can't really use. You understand what I'm saying? We don't want you having fake information that you can't really use. We want you to have the real stuff that you can actually utilize in your situation with this guy. Okay, does that make sense? So when I say fixation and fascination, what I want you to be doing when you go on these dates with these guys is I want you to be presenting yourself as if when you get on this date, and I know it's going to sound weird, but when you get on this date, I want you to make him feel like you have a fixation on him and you are completely and utterly fascinated by everything he has to say. Okay, I know you're probably thinking when I say make him fixated and fascinated on you, you're thinking, Tomisin, like, come on, man, like this shouldn't all be about him. What about my joy? I want joy too. I want to enjoy myself too. I want to yap too. I want to talk about myself and the things that I'm going through too. You will get that opportunity. Don't worry. Okay, never worry. I got you. You're going to get that opportunity. However, that opportunity is going to come when it's time and when it's someone you can actually trust with that. I don't want you going out and yapping a bunch and trauma dumping a bunch with a guy that is not actually who you're looking for. Are you following me so far? Very important that you don't just yap and trauma dump on with guys that are not actually the type of guy you're looking for, that you don't even know if you can trust him with that information. Okay, you have to know that for sure. You can trust him with that information before you go out trauma dumping and yapping, okay? So when I say fixation and fascination, what I want you to make him feel like, because this is, notice what we're going to discuss today is going to be a little bit deeper into psychology, but I want you to understand there's a really important reason for that. I want you to plant a seed inside him that's going to sprout very particular emotions. Those particular emotions that sprout inside him, the way he's going to react and respond to those is going to be in a particular way that I understand and know how men respond to things. And then he's actually going to be more interested in you or feel like he had a better time on this date with you because of those seeds that you planted inside him. So if you're strategic in the emotions that you plant inside him via these seeds, and then when they sprout into that actual reaction or that actual feeling, you get what you want because the guy wants you more. And then what's he doing when the moment you walk out of this date or the moment the date ends? He's calling you and texting you, asking you when you guys can go out on a date again. So you end up winning with this strategy. Now, when I say fixation and fascination, what I'm referring to specifically, I want you to make him feel like, this is the seed that you're planting specifically, I want you to make him feel like you're fixated and fascinated with everything that he has to say on this date, okay? Now, the reason for that is because when people feel like you're actually interested in what they have to say and you're actually fascinated with what they're saying and telling you currently, it gives them the green light to continue sharing more and more with you. And you're going to notice a theme throughout everything that we talk about here. Majority of what we talk about in terms of getting a guy to want you more because of this first date, all of it stems around getting him to talk, getting him to share, getting him to feel good about this situation by talking about himself and sharing himself, whether it be emotionally, physically, all that good stuff, right? You want him to be pouring and investing into you. Why? Because you get all the advantage that way because you have the information now, and you also have the fact that he's sharing with you is emotional investment in you, okay? So you win twofold. Now, it's very important that when we talk about the fixation and the fascination, that we're very clear on what I mean by a fixation and a fascination. So I'll tell you exactly what not to do and what I don't mean by this. When I say fixation and fascination, I do not mean sit down on your first date with him and immediately start complimenting him about how good his shirt looks, about how strong big his muscles are, about how tall he is and how amazing his smile is and how you've never seen a guy as handsome as you've seen him. Okay, I don't want you doing that. In fact, that's the exact opposite of what I want you to do. The last thing I ever want you to do out on a date with the guy is verbally compliment him, but we're going to talk about that more. Okay, I know that it sounds kind of weird because you're thinking to yourself, what? I thought, wouldn't that make him feel good if I verbally compliment? No, that makes you feel good when guys compliment you. It works differently as an effect for guys, especially on the very first date. Going over and above with all the compliments just makes him feel like he doesn't need to do any more for you. Or in this talking stage, right? The work is already done because you're already head over heels in love with him. You don't want him having that feeling on the very first date. However, you can give him a feeling of fixation and fascination without verbally complimenting him and verbally spewing all these stuff about how amazing he is. The fixation and fascination I'm discussing is a fascination with the fact that your life is so interesting. The way you think is so interesting. The way you go about life and approach relationships is so interesting and fascinating to me. I am so enamored and fascinated with how you operate. I would love to hear you talk more about yourself, how you feel, why you did this, why you did that in your past relationship. This went here with your most recent ex. It ended because of this. Tell me how it made you feel. Tell me why you responded that way. Tell me all the things about you and your thought process to help me better understand you, because I just find the fact that you're a different human being and you think differently, I find that so fascinating. Okay? Now, you don't necessarily have to go that deep and pour it on that thick in terms of what you say, but this is the feeling that I want you to implant in him. Remember, at the beginning of this, I told you you're planting a seed in him that's meant to sprout particular emotions, okay? So when you make him feel like you're super fascinated with the person that he is, and super fascinated with the way that he thinks, and super fascinated with how he goes about life, what does that do for him? Oh, well, I never thought of myself as that interesting, but I mean, the way you're making me feel, I guess maybe I am that interesting. So you actually want to know an even crazier story about me and my ex. So actually, she never knew this. Keep this quiet. Just me and you, right? Like we're cool. I actually cheated on her a few times and she never found out. That's crazy, right? But let me explain to you, because I know you like to hear how I think. Let me explain to you what my thought process was. And then you just go, oh, that's so interesting. So explain to me, like, what transpired in your relationship that really brought you to that point. I'm so curious. Yeah. How do you think about that? How did that make you feel when she neglected you, like you said, and then you cheat? Yeah. That's so interesting. And the work was getting in the way of your, explain that to me. Yeah. I want to know more. Right. And this fascination that you give them continuously confirms in their mind, oh, I should be sharing more. I should be talking more. This is going really well. Right. Because remember what I said. Well, if you've joined me on the shows before, you'll remember what I talked to you guys about in terms of guys are most likely, when they want something from you, they're most likely to try to fit the mold of whatever it is you seem to be looking for, and whatever confirmation, like positive confirmation and feedback they're getting from you, they feel like they're getting somewhere in this relationship with you if they're getting those positive signals. So I'll give you a different type of example. If you say, I've always wanted a guy who will buy me flowers because in my last relationships, I've never had a guy who would buy me flowers and take me out to a nice restaurant. What do you think if he thinks, oh, I want something from you, I want access to you? What do you think is some of the first things he's going to be thinking of doing, right? He's going to be thinking, let me get her flowers and let me take her to the exact spot she said she would always love to be taken to, because if I can do that, right, for her, then that will make it that much easier for me to be accepted by her. And if she likes me and accepts me, then I will get access to her, which is why I say not to tell guys real information about how to get the keys to your heart, because a lot of guys are just going to utilize that information to make you feel like they're the person you're looking for. But when you realize that they're not the person you're looking for, it's after you slept with him. So you're actually using this psychology to your advantage, that guys naturally want to align them. If they're on a date with you, of course, they naturally want to align themselves with what they feel like you're looking for. So when you're giving him a bunch of positive feedback in terms of feeling like, oh, wow, this is so fascinating how you think. And if you could explain to me in even more detail exactly why you went about it like that and exactly why you think about relationships like that and you react like that, that would be so much more interesting to me. And I find that so fascinating. When you approach it like that, you're giving him that positive feedback loop where, oh, she really likes when I'm open. She really enjoys when I'm honest. She really loves to hear me talk about my feelings, talk about what I think, talk about how I go about relationships, even if it's not pretty, even if it's not fancy, and even if it doesn't necessarily sound good. She loves hearing me yap more than anything else. And I want to make her happy, so I guess I'll yap. Right? I feel good yapping. I feel like the man. I feel like you're interested in what I have to say. So I'll keep yapping. Okay? Michelle says, that's so twisted. They actually think like that. You have to understand, right? Natural to all human beings. This is kind of a psychology trick, but you're just utilizing it on your dates. Natural to all human beings. Everyone loves talking about themselves. Okay? There is no one on this planet that doesn't enjoy talking about themselves, right? Or talking about things that they find interesting, okay? You're not going to get someone yapping by saying, hey, I want us to talk about my life, and I hope that we talk about, when the process of us talking about my life, you'll become more interested, invested, and become more open. No, that's not how you get people to open up. How you get people to open up is by getting them to talk about themselves and talk about things that they're already interested in and passionate about. So already, that is kind of like a psychology trick that you can utilize to your advantage to get the men to be more interested in you on that very first date. Also, when people are talking about themselves or talking about things that they find interesting, you make it that much easier, right? Because he already finds it interesting, and because he's going to open up more because he's talking about something that he finds interesting. When you are giving him that positive feedback of making him feel like you're fixated and fascinated with everything that he has to say, now you're making it that much easier for him to continue sharing and continue dumping and continue just being honest and open with you. Because now, on top of the fact he already enjoys talking about things that he's interested in and already enjoys talking about himself and his life, right? Now he's seeing that you really enjoy that as well. So he feels like he's actually doing you a favor by talking more about himself. It's so powerful. So powerful. You're almost going to want to shed. Listen to me. When I discovered this master trick, right? I guess you call it a trick, or just like hack to life, you'll discover how much more easy life is. And you'll be like, oh my God, I never realized what I was missing out on just by being a good question asker and just by knowing how to present myself so I look like I'm super interested in what you have to say. Because that's the craziest part. The guys actually start to believe that they're doing you a favor by being so open and honest with you and telling them everything about themselves. It's crazy. It's crazy. They actually, and I know the reason I'm saying this is because I know for some of you, you have struggled getting guys to tell you the truth, getting guys to be honest with you, getting guys to tell you how they really feel until it's too late or until after you sleep with them. Then he's talking about, yeah, I don't know if I'm ready for a relationship. And you're thinking in your mind, why didn't you tell me that and be honest with me about that at the very beginning? So this is something that will help you and it will change your life. Because when guys are on dates with you and they feel like they're actually doing you a favor by sharing about themselves and talking about their interests, they'll never stop yapping. And it makes it, they just go down into the spiral. You know how we talk about the negative spiral? They go down into this positive spiral. It's positive for you because they continuously yap about whatever it is that's on their mind or whatever question it is you're asking, whatever question or topic it is that he's answering about himself or what he's interested in or his life. And in the process of that, he just snowballs and he forgets the fact that you're not sharing anything. Literally forgets it. He can't even realize that you're steering this conversation into all the places that you want very detailed information. And in the process of him sharing and you being so fixated and fascinated with everything that he has to say, he's actually spilling the beans on all of these very important pieces of information that you need to have access to in order to determine, are you who I'm looking for? So this is why it's such a hack to life, because it helps you in multiple ways. You'll learn more about him and you get to decide if he's actually who you're looking for, right? Because he's more open and honest with you. But also, he finds you more interesting and fascinating, not because you're talking or saying anything, but because you're such a good listener. And because you're enchanting him, that's like the spell that you cast, you know? When you're enchanting him by making him feel like you're fixated and fascinated with everything that he has to say. You're hanging on to every word. And this is where we're going to dive even deeper into this to help you understand how to do this the exact proper way so that you can be prepared that when you go out on these dates and you're practicing these strategies, you're hitting him with everything at once. And he feels like, by golly gee, I got to see her again. That was so amazing. And you're thinking in your mind when you leave the date, all I did was gather information on you and you don't even know anything about me. And I know that for some of you who are new here, you're probably wondering to yourself, Tomisin, please explain to me how this is possible that I can go out on a date, not talk, not yap, not share damn near anything, and he leaves the date liking me more and thinking that I'm interesting when I didn't even share anything about myself. He doesn't even know anything about me. What does he find interesting about me? And I'm here to let you in on a little bit of a secret. It's a small little secret, and I want you to know this secret because it's going to help you with everything. And I've said this to those of you who have been here for quite some time before, so you know this secret. People do not remember what you say. They remember what in the chat? I want you guys to tell me, those of you who've been here and are OGs, What do people remember from you? They don't remember what you say. They remember instead what? I want to see who's a really good student. Who's a really good student in the chat and knows exactly what I'm about to say? People never remember what you say to them. They remember. I see some of you are A+ students in the chat. I see you saying it, okay? People don't remember what you say to them, guys. They remember how you make them feel, okay? Right? Because in the process of having conversation with people, yeah, you can say some things, you can talk about some things, but as time goes on, it becomes harder and harder to remember every single word and detail of the conversation. And after a while, it all just smooths over and they only remember the feeling that they had when they were with you. And I can assure you, you will always make people feel positive emotions about you and towards you when they talk to you and they feel like you're interested in what they have to say, right? And they feel like you're fascinated by them. They feel like you actually care about their perspective and their viewpoint, right? And they feel like they're actually being heard and seen. Because when they feel like that from you, right, it'll be the rare case of someone who they actually feel heard and seen by, truly. Because you have to understand, for basically all of us, we spend majority of our lives truly feeling like people aren't really hearing and seeing us. So when you can go out on a date with someone and feel like you have 110% of their focus and attention, and they're truly, genuinely fascinated by you and how you think and who you are, for the first time, you actually feel seen and heard as a human being. That feeling is so impactful, it stays with you longer than you can ever remember anything that was said or done in that relationship or that date. All you can end up remembering is how good it felt to finally be seen and heard by someone. And I know you're thinking, do guys really even care about that? Yes. Guys are human beings too. And you can use this psychological tactic on them too. Because by the time he thinks back to his experience with you on the date, he's not going to remember, oh, gee, what did she say about her favorite color or her favorite meal? Gee, I don't think she shared that with me. That must mean we didn't go out on a good date. No, he's only going to remember how good it felt to have someone so fascinated by him, fixated on him, having all of her attention, wanting to know more about him, asking him questions. And the thing about it is, it's so easy, so easy. I want to cry because these hacks are so good. They work so well. You'll be shocked. It's so easy to implant emotions into people that you want them to feel. I know it sounds like manipulation. It is, guys. This is a little secret. Today is going to be a manipulation episode, okay? And a psychology episode. You can actually implant emotions in people that you want them to feel, right? But the craziest part about it, and I know it sounds like manipulation, it is manipulation, but your strategic manipulation to get what you want. And the thing about it is, when you get really good at implanting emotions in people that you want them to feel and you understand them better, right? You get them to make them feel like these were genuine feelings within themselves, not realizing that you strategically implanted that in them, okay? And it has everything to do with psychology and not to do with you being a bad person. It's just how human beings work, okay? Because I'll give you an example of how you implant emotions into people. Okay, so for example, a way to implant emotions into people is to give them that emotion or that feeling subconsciously, knowing that natural to them, they're going to want to mirror that feeling. So remember when I talked to you guys about love bombing and why love bombing works so well on you? This is another psychology trick, right? Because when men meet you and they love bomb you and they know you're really susceptible to that, they're giving you a heavy dose of a particular emotion. I'm so in love with you. I want you so badly. I want to marry you. I want you to have my children. I want us to build a life together. I want to put a ring on it yesterday. I want you so badly and I want this so badly. Because when they do that to you, it forces you and it puts you in a position where you kind of aren't in control of this response, but you naturally feel like you need to mirror that same emotion. So because they're able to fake that emotion, right, and make you feel that emotion subconsciously, you now feel it's necessary to mirror that emotion back to him, even if you don't genuinely feel that. So I say that to say that's an example of how people can actually implant emotions in each other to make someone feel something that they might not genuinely be feeling, to use it to their advantage, okay? Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's very important that you understand, first of all, that this has been happening to you. So if you're thinking that you're above this and like, oh, I'm not going to do this because this is something that only bad people do, this does happen, right? This does happen all the time in a lot of relationships, and you can utilize these same psychology tricks to get what you want. And in this case, what you want is information. So this works really well for you. Information on top of the fact you also want him to really want you more and want this relationship more. So it works for you twice as good. Ooh, I'm thirsty today. Does that make sense to you guys so far? Right? Now, I know these are pretty deep and these are very psychology based. So I want to make sure you guys are all following along. And I want to make sure if you guys have any questions as I talk about each topic, that you're understanding what I'm referring to and why this works so well. You understand what I'm saying? The Ayla says, why can't they just be genuine? Well, here's the thing. Like I always tell all you beautiful people, in a perfect utopia world, everyone would just be super honest with you about how they feel, what they want, what their intentions are. They tell you exactly what's on their mind. They tell you exactly what they're thinking. Like in a perfect world, that's exactly what people would do for each other. Okay. That way, nobody would have to guess anything. Nobody would have to imply anything or infer anything. The reality of it is, though, we don't live in that world. Okay. And we've never lived in a world like that. That's just not how human beings are. Okay. So you can either spend all your time being sad about the fact that people won't just come out and tell you exactly how they feel and exactly what they want, or you can figure out how to strategically extract that from people so that you can be happy regardless. You understand? Even if you were to watch a movie of two main characters in a movie, and the entire movie, right, when they were in their relationship, they were telling each other exactly what they wanted, exactly how they wanted it, and they were able to express all the emotions exactly when they felt them in detail and be super honest with each other. If you watched a movie like that of two main characters that did that, exactly what you're asking for other people to do, you'd be watching that movie going, this is super unrealistic. Nobody does that. Nobody just goes on a first date and tells each other exactly how they feel, exactly what they want. That's just not how people work. That's not how people operate, right? And so that's the world that we live in. People don't just come out and say things like that, right? People are going to withhold information because it benefits them, or they're going to share or exaggerate information because it benefits them. If they're on a date with you, they're definitely not going to tell you all the reasons you shouldn't want to date them because of how messy or disgusting they are, because they want a partner, right? If they want a partner, they're not likely to share all the things to you that would make them an undesirable partner. And Ale even says, I'm straightforward. You can be of the belief that you're straightforward, but even you, when you go out on a first date, you're not going to jump out the window to tell someone all the ways they might not like you or they would think of you as undesirable. Why would you not jump out the window on your first date and tell someone that? Because you want them to desire you. It doesn't make you a bad person. I just want you to understand that extracting information is a skill set. And once you rid yourself of this idea that the person you're going to come across and meet one day is going to be so brutally honest with you and straightforward with you that you'll never have to guess anything that they're thinking or you'll never have to work to extract information. When you rid yourself of that mindset, then you can finally start getting somewhere. The longer you go about your life, and maybe I could be wrong, maybe I don't know what I'm saying, but I think the longer you go about your life looking for someone who will just tell you exactly how they feel, exactly what they want, not hide anything, and be so straightforward with you that you'll never have to guess what they're thinking or feeling, you're in a dream world. And you're constantly going to be frustrated because you're always going to be looking for that, not realizing that you're never going to find that in any human being. That's just not how human beings are. Anyone can say I'm super straightforward and I'm super upfront about my feelings and emotions, but even you, the straightforward person, keep some things hidden and suppressed within you because directly or indirectly, it doesn't serve you to share absolutely everything all the time. Let's just be so for real. Nobody goes on a date with the intention of telling the person they're on a date with all the ways that they shouldn't want to date them. That doesn't make logical sense. Why would anyone do that? Okay? When you go out on a date, you're obviously going to try to be putting your best foot forward and try to be as desirable to the other person as possible, which means you're going to avoid sharing information that would make you undesirable. And you're going to try your best, at least, to share information or do things that make you more desirable. That's what everyone is going to do naturally. Okay. So you have to work with that logic and understand that logic so you can extract information from people, regardless of the fact of whether or not they feel like they should be sharing that to you or not. So you basically, right, with this fixation and fascination, you trick them into thinking that it's a positive thing to share as much as they possibly can with you and to be as ugly with the truth and the openness and the honesty as they can, because for you, that's more attractive. He's a little trick, okay? I teach you all the little tricks so you get what you want, okay? Okay? So number one, fixation and fascination. Now, number two is a concept in which I call put on his glasses. I wish I had a pair of glasses, all right? I want you to pick up and put on his glasses. Now, specifically what I mean by pick up and put on his glasses is one of the most powerful things you can do for someone when you are trying to get them to share more with you is not to, because this is what's going to be natural to you when you go out on a date. When a guy tells you, hey, so by the way, I know you were asking about me and my ex in my last relationship. I just want to let you know that in my last relationship, I cheated on her 3 or 4 times. And, it was pretty toxic. We went back and forth a whole bunch and we fought a whole bunch and, things just didn't work out. And eventually I just kind of left her, and I wanted to be on my own. I just never texted her back and I left it. When a guy tells you a story like that, you're going to be saying, that's horrible. How could you do that to someone? That poor girl. Oh my God, you're be thinking that, and you're going to want to say that, and your body language is going to be saying that, and you're going to be like, oh, that's a red flag. Oh, I don't like the sound of that. Oh, that's not good, right? And you're going to be thinking, oh, I don't like what you're saying. And because I don't agree with or I don't like what you're saying, my first response is to tell you how much I don't like what you're saying. That is a mistake. And I want to change your mindset so that you can approach this the right way, because you can get two things. You can get what you want in terms of getting information, but you can also get him to be more interested in you because of this. And this is why it's so powerful. Because when you put on his glasses, it's about understanding that telling someone, I don't like the way you live your life, or I'm not in agreement in the things that you do, actually doesn't benefit you. Because if you know you don't agree with the way someone lives their life or the way that they're doing things, then that's information you just bank in your mind, and you ask yourself later on, am I willing to continue seeing you or dealing with you based on how you go about your relationships? If the answer is no, you don't need to share with him on that date that I don't like what you're saying or I don't agree with what you're saying. You understand what I'm saying? You take that time on that date to allow him to feel like, oh, I want to see your perspective. This is why I call it putting on his glasses. You put on his glasses so you can make him feel like we're sharing the same perspective. I want to see the world how you see the world. I want to understand you better. So rather than judging you for what you've done or how you've lived your life, explain to me the thought process of why you did it. Help me see your perspective in life. Help me see the things you've been through and the way your family affected you, the way your friendships have affected you, the way your past has affected you, that have brought you to the person you are now. To explain to me how you became this. Explain to me how you chose those decisions and why you felt that was the right decision to make at that time. And you know what that does to him when you start to put on his glasses? He starts to feel understood by you and even that much more comfortable talking to you about things that are close to his heart and things that he actually genuinely feels, and he actually has genuinely thought that he felt it would probably be not good to be sharing that with someone he's on a date with. Because remember what I said earlier when I talked about everything you're doing here is to kind of flip things on its head and make him feel like the best way to appease you or make you happy is to continue sharing and continue being open. And you're trying to plant a seed of an emotion inside him that you should get excited to share. You should get excited to be open. I am fascinated with you. I am enamored with you. You're not saying it, but you're making him feel that. And as he talks more and he yaps more, he feels more excited to share more. And he feels more like you're even more interested in this conversation, in this relationship. And so because he feels like you're so interested, he talks even more. And this is why I say this is so powerful, because you'll be shocked the amount of happiness that a man will begin sharing with you things that you're thinking to yourself, you're literally telling me all the ways I would not want to date you and all the things about you that I would only realize over time. And you'll be almost like giggling in your mind because you're like, oh my God, he doesn't realize he's telling me all of his secrets. He can't see. He's spiraling so much into la la land where he feels so good about being able to yap to me. He doesn't even realize he's actually telling me all of his issues and problems that I should be looking out for in the future. Oh my God. And the thing about it is, you'll be sitting there, he's yapping, and you're having your own internal monologue like, wow, I can't believe I'm getting him to tell me literally everything about him. Okay? And this is why it's powerful. Actually, I said in 2 ways. It's actually powerful in 3 ways. 1, because you're gathering information, which helps you because you get to make the decision on whether or not he's who you're looking for. 2, because he begins to feel more interested in you because of how you make him feel that you're so fascinated with him. But 3, also, the fact that he's sharing with you all of that information also allows you to know whether or not, well, like I said, whether or not he's the person that you're looking for and whether or not he's the person that you want to be in a relationship with. But also if you like, I'm trying to think of how to say this. Also, if you, I'll just leave it at those 2. I want to figure out how to say it the right way, but I'll leave it at those 2. Okay, right? So it first helps you in terms of how to understand whether or not, had like a brain fart, whether to understand whether or not he is the person that you want, and also it allows you to have a lot more information about him and the relationship, and he will become more fascinated with you because he gets to share with you. Okay. Right. Juliana says, let them yap so you can figure out what kind of person they are so you can decide whether to leave or stay. 100%. You are so much better off getting guys to yap, putting on his glasses so that he can continue yapping to you. And when he continues to yap to you, you get more and more information. I never want you guys to feel like, oh, but when is it my turn to share? Or, but this is all about him. Or, when do I get to make the relationship about me? Is the relationship always going to be about him? No, the relationship's not always going to be about him. It will be about you, but it will be about you, like I always say, when it's the right time with the right person. You don't need to make it about you with someone that you aren't even going to end up in a relationship with, right? You also don't need to be spilling your guts to someone that's going to take that information and utilize it to get access to you and then disappear on you. Okay, so you want to be gathering information so you can make some educated decisions about whether or not this is someone that you want in your life. Does that make sense? Right? Chelsea said how to react and make him comfortable to yap. I didn't catch that. If you missed any of the points that I discussed, they're all available on my YouTube because I'm live on YouTube at the exact same time. Okay, right? Jess says, so do we deflect back to them when they ask deep questions about us? Yes, this is part of the other thing that I want to discuss with you guys as well. And I'm glad you asked that, Jess. When guys, obviously, if a guy's interested in you as well, he's going to ask you questions. What about you? He's going to ask you things about yourself as well. Part of this fixation and fascination and putting on his glass and all the good stuff we're going to talk about today as well. I want you to start in your relationships and on these dates. I want you to get very strategic and good at anticipating the fact that guys are also going to ask you, what about you, right? If you ask him a really deep, good question, there's a good chance he's going to say, well, what about you? So I want you to already have an answer prepared in your mind that can give him answers and make him feel like you're ready to share. But as soon as you give him the answer, I don't even want you to give him an opportunity to ask you follow-up questions. I want you to always try to answer questions as quickly and efficiently as you can, and then immediately redirect the conversation back to him. I know that this sounds really hard and really difficult, but I promise you, as you get better at this, it'll become like a rhythm to you, okay? You when you're asking questions, you're actually steering the conversation. People don't realize you're steering the conversation because they're talking so much, they think they're steering the conversation. You're actually steering it from the sidelines. And the moment someone asks you a question back, they don't realize that you're already anticipating they're going to ask you that similar question back because that's the topic of the conversation. You already should have an answer prepared for the types of things you're going to be asking him. And your answer should always be prepared in the shortest format that you can possibly give an answer, so that he doesn't feel like you're not willing to share. But you also, in the process of asking that question, this is the really strategic thing that I'll give you. I want you to make it seem like as soon as you answer a question, right, of his that he asks you, in your mind, as you're answering the question, in your mind pops in another question that you're reminded of by answering this question that you want to know about him. Shh, don't tell anyone I told you, okay? That's a little secret. I'm glad Jess asked that because that's a little secret that I wanted to share with you guys. Okay? When someone asks you a question, the best way to redirect is to make them feel like, oh, as I'm answering this question, I just thought of this thing that I also wanted to know about you because I was answering that question. And people are less likely to say, hey, but you didn't answer my question. They're just going to think, oh my God, this thing popped in my mind. And then you just flow right into it and ask the question. And then now he's yapping again, answering about himself. And I know you're thinking, but Tomisin, he's going to know that I didn't answer his question. I promise you, when you're in the flow of conversation like this on a date, people can't realize, oh, but the question I asked you, you never answered it. And especially when you're steering the conversation so well, you never give them an opportunity to sit and think to themselves, but you didn't answer my question. You just keep giving them the next question, and you just keep giving them the follow-up question, and you just keep saying, but this and but that, and explain to me this and explain to me that. And the best part is when you're doing a really good job of getting him enchanted and making him feel like you're fascinated with what he's saying, as he's answering those questions are going to be like long-winded answers. So you're going to have like 3, 4, 5 minutes in between these answers to just kind of think to yourself, okay, what's the next thing that I want to ask? What's the next thing that I want to ask? When you get into this cycle, it'll become very easy asking him a question. As he's answering that question, you're already thinking of the follow-up question. And then in the process of him answering that question, you're like immediately jumping into the follow-up. As he's answering the follow-up, you're immediately thinking about the next question. As soon as he's finished the follow-up, you're thinking about the next question, how you're going to jump into that, right? I know it sounds super manipulative. It is manipulative, but this is how you get people enamored with you, where you're just asking so many questions, you're gathering so much information, he's sharing so much, he feels like, damn, this is such an interesting conversation. This is like, I can't believe how much we're flowing here. We're connecting so well. And that was the third thing that I was actually going to say in terms of why the third reason why this is so good for you is because in the process of guys talking to you about themselves and yapping about all the ways that you may or may not want to be in a relationship with them, it actually benefits you so much because as they're telling you all the different ways in which they mistreated their ex or which they're not the guy you're looking for, or maybe you might not like them because of this or this experience or this thought process or whatever, they're actually removing the pedestal that you might put them on because you're meeting someone new. Because the thing about it is when you're meeting a guy and he's new to you and you've never met him before and you're excited about this relationship, you're naturally going to want to think, oh, you're like Mr. Perfect. You're like the new Prince Charming and you're here to sweep me off my feet. And so what's going to happen is in the beginning of your relationship with him, you're going to be operating under the understanding that, hey, because you're new and I don't have any bad examples or experiences with you. I am of the belief that you're perfect and you're amazing. So I'm going to treat you as if you're perfect and amazing. It's also going to be really difficult for me to ever go without you or feel like you're not interested in me because I'm of the belief that you're perfect and amazing. Very quickly on the very first date, you put yourself in a position where he's not so perfect and amazing to you. I know that sounds horrible, but I actually want to let you in that helps you, because when you realize early on that he's not perfect and amazing, you can actually take a deep breath and relax and say to yourself, oh, you're just like any other guy. You're a regular guy. You make mistakes. You're imperfect. Okay, you have feelings, right? You say the wrong thing sometimes. You do the wrong thing sometimes. You might be disrespectful to some people sometimes. You take advantage of people sometimes. But it's good for you to realize that early, so that way you're not in super anxiety mode the moment you feel like he's pulling away from you, because then you feel like, oh, I'm losing out on a guy that I'll never meet again. I know it sounds horrible, but it actually does benefit you, because then you can be in a position of relaxation where you're not super anxious thinking you're never going to meet a guy like this ever again. Right? Gigi said, I've had guys super closed off to questions. I'm going to let you in on a secret, and I know some of you might not want to hear this secret, is that you can open up anyone, okay? No matter who it is, no matter how shy they are, no matter how closed off they are, no matter how cold they are, I can assure you it is possible to get anyone talking. You want to know how I know that? Not because I'm the smartest person ever, but literally, I'll give you an example of why it's possible to get anyone talking. When a police officer is trying to solve an unaliving, okay? And someone in the neighborhood has been unalived, and there's a very key top suspect to this unaliving. He's going to ask the person who he suspects might have done the unaliving into the police station to question that person. Now, the person who did the unaliving might know that I did the unaliving. So when he goes into the police station, he knows in his mind, this police officer is onto something because I did the unaliving, and clearly he's come up with some clues that make me a suspicious top suspect to this unaliving. So when that suspect goes into the police station, he knows that the police officer knows that there's information that he's trying to extract from him in order to come to the conclusion, is he the person that did the unaliving? So the suspect is already aware of the fact that when I sit down at that police station, that police officer is trying to extract information from me, right? And if I did the unaliving, then I know I shouldn't be talking to that police officer. However, even though that's the case, you would think a natural human being would always be closed off and the police officer would never get any answers. But there's actually a psychological strategy to getting someone to open up even when they don't want to open up to you, right? And so even the police officer has the suspect sit down at the police station, and instead of just coming out and asking the question, hey, did you unalive that guy on 42nd Street at exactly 3:15 p.m. on a Tuesday afternoon? Right? Why doesn't the police officer just come out and ask that if that's the ultimate question that he's trying to get the answer to? Why does the police officer sit down with the suspect and start asking him, so how was your day? Tell me about your relationship with your brother. Tell me about what you've been going through at work. Has work been frustrating for you? So your cousin, are you aware that your cousin has been unalived last week? Can you tell me, what's your relationship been like with your cousin? Have you guys had any arguments? What's your family life been? What's your history been in your past friendships? Oh, so you're telling me that your cousin actually dated your ex-girlfriend for a bit? Oh, that's interesting. How long did they date for? Oh, and you're actually telling me that one day you found out that they were dating again, and your ex-girlfriend left you for your cousin? Oh, so how did that make you feel? Oh, so you actually went to your cousin's house on Tuesday, and what happened? Did you have a conversation about your ex-girlfriend? Oh, your ex-girlfriend was actually at your cousin's place. Let me know, like, what did that conversation go about? Oh, you were really angry. Oh, you were really upset. You were really upset, and what happened? Explain to me what happened when you were really upset. Oh, you pulled out a what? Oh, we got him. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. Right? And it's funny because in your mind, you're thinking, well, no, people that don't want to answer or are closed off, they're not going to answer any of my questions. But I want you to understand there is always a strategy to get people to open up. Now, yes, you're going to have to warm some people up. Yes, you're going to have to be strategic. Yes, it is a process. But I can assure you, if a police officer can do it with a suspect that knows he did the unaliving, and he can get the suspect to admit to the unaliving or to give him specific clues that make it very clear that he did the unaliving, then I can assure you, if a police officer can do that, then you can get a man who you're on a date with to be open with you and share with you, okay? I give you that example to make it less scary to you, because if someone can do that in that level of extremeness, then you can do it on a lesser level with someone who's already on a date with you, okay? Starry Night says, a police officer has had specialized training. What do you think you're in the Players Club for? You're in the Players Club for specialized training. I'm sharing with you these techniques and these elements so you can have the specialized training and the specialized understanding of how men think and how people react and respond to things, so you can take this knowledge out on your dates with you and figure out how to extract information from people without them even realizing that you're extracting information from you. That's literally why I'm here today. That's why we're having this show. You're getting the specialized training. Okay, does that make sense? So number one is the fixation and fascination. Number two, you put on his glasses. Now, number three, okay, this stop pooping time. Everybody in the chat, you stop pooping now. If you haven't been paying attention up until this point, I want you paying attention now. Take your hand out of your pants. You're listening to me. You're looking me in my eyes, because this is very important. Now, number three, I want you to talk with your body. Okay? Talk with your body. Because this is okay, hyper important. I need to undo some of the things other people have been trying to teach you, okay? The best thing for you to do as a woman is not to open your mouth and speak more, okay? You can make men feel very strong emotions about you and towards you by saying nothing, okay? Your body language is so powerful. Way more powerful than anything you can say. So what I specifically mean by that, a lot of people are going to tell you that when you go out on dates with guys, compliment his t-shirt or compliment his hairstyle, even if his hair looks rowdy and ruggedy, even if he's got a whole bunch of mismatched colors on and he can't dress for anything, compliment something on it, compliment his smile or something that'll make him feel good. Rid yourself of all of that BS. That's super generic, useless stuff. You can't really use that where we're going. Okay, we're going deep and we're getting you what you want. Okay, that stuff is stupid. It's not really going to help you. Okay, what's actually going to help you is figuring out how to talk and communicate with your body language to make someone feel or elicit an emotion in them through your body language. Okay, so people are going to tell you to compliment men because that's what's going to make them feel good about themselves and all this other BS. Useless. Get rid of that. What I want you to do is compliment men by making them feel like you're interested in them with your body language. That is way more flattering than anything you could say about his nice shirt or his nice smile. Okay? I want you to understand how powerful this is, right? Because anyone can say, yeah, you have a really nice smile, or yeah, you have really nice muscles. That's great. But it's not as emotionally impactful as using your body language to make someone feel like I am invested in what you have to say. I want to know more about you, and as you're speaking to me, I'm paying attention to you. I'm looking at you. I'm focused on you. You have my attention. Okay? Right? It's a very different emotion that gets put into you when you can actually see someone and start to feel like, oh, you're paying attention to me. You're listening to me, right? You're focused on me. Someone said, give me an example. I want to give you guys an example by actually showing you how it feels to not be that. So let's say, for example, me and you are on a date. And when me and you are on a date, let's say I'm asking you, we're talking about our last relationship. And as we're talking, you're talking about your last relationship with your ex. Let's say this is my reaction while you're talking about your last relationship. How is that going to make you feel? Is that going to make you feel like I'm paying attention to what you have to say, or I care about what you have to say? Or is that going to make you feel like I'd rather be anywhere else but here? Let me know in the chat. Are you going to feel yes, like I'm paying attention, or no, I'm going to feel like you're not paying attention if I'm like that on a date with you? Notice I didn't say anything. I didn't say words. I didn't say anything about you that I don't like you or I don't want to be here. I didn't say a single word. But let me know how that makes you feel. What emotion does that elicit in you? Do you feel like I'm paying attention to you? Yes, and I care about what you're saying? Or do you feel like I don't care about what you're saying? Okay. I see someone's, Shelia says frustrated that you're not paying attention, right? That you're bored, you're disinterested, or you're annoyed, right? Time to go, disregarded, right? You don't want to hear it type of thing, right? Miriam says no in the YouTube chat, right? So the reason I say that is because let's now contrast that with, let's say you're telling me the same thing about your relationship and your ex, and imagine I'm like this. What? Oh my God. What? Oh yeah. Oh wow. No. Once again, I didn't say words, okay? Right? But you see how my body language can elicit a feeling in you, right? Okay, does that make sense? So I'm saying that to say, contrast that in those two situations with how that's why I say this is so powerful and this is like psychology. Because if I take an emotion that I want you to feel and I strategically plant it inside you by knowing how I can deliver that emotion to you through the things that I do that are subconscious to you, you feel, because they're subconscious to you, like those were your genuine emotions. So even though I'm aware of how it makes you feel, that you're going to receive my body language and how different types of body language will make you feel, because it's subconscious to you, as you're feeling it, you're feeling like this is like genuine to just how you feel in the moment. So I say that to say, me acting as if I'm super interested and invested in everything that you're saying is making you feel like, oh, you really care about this. You really want to hear what I have to say. I should keep talking, right? You really appreciate me. You're really focused on me. You're paying attention to me, all that good stuff, right? Giving you that positive feedback. And as I'm giving you that positive feedback, you feel better about this and this situation and me. And you start to feel a whole bunch of positive emotions that are like a confirmation to you that you're enjoying this. Meanwhile, I haven't actually said anything, right? So it becomes, this is why I say throw away everything that people tell you about giving people compliments like, oh, you got a nice shirt. You see, giving people subconscious compliments, especially when you're on a date with them, that, oh, I'm focused on you. You have my full 100% attention. That is way, way, way more powerful than saying, I like your t-shirt, okay? Because once again, people, this is where it all comes into play. People don't remember what you say. They remember how you make them feel. And we've just acknowledged in the example that I gave that you can make someone feel something without saying a word. So when you become better at this, you go out on your dates very self-aware of your body language and very self-aware of how you're presenting yourself, especially while he's sharing with you. Because you're always thinking to yourself, I want you to share more, because you sharing more is going to give me more information. It's also going to make you like me more. So I definitely want to keep the positive feedback loop going, that as you're sharing, you feel my focus, right? You feel complimented by me because of how much focus and investment I have in you and this conversation, right? Says that radiate that you're open and that you have really good energy, 100%, right? And you'll be, trust me, I know that some of this sounds silly and you're like, nobody's going to care about that. I seen some people earlier talking about, guys aren't going to be able to pay attention to those cues. What I want you to understand is this is going deeper into psychology than it is anything else. So what I mean by that is these cues and these strategies that I'm discussing with you are so subconscious and deep rooted inside our spirit and our soul that men, even if they're emotionally stunted, they might not be able to explain to you why they're feeling that way or what you did that made them feel that way. They're just going to know what you made them feel was good. And it was a lot better than anything else they've ever felt with someone else. They might not know why. It's going to be a secret to you and me because we know why they feel so good about you. But they just know in their mind, I'm getting so many positive feelings about you. Okay? A lot of times when people really like you, and if you're really good at this, people won't know why they like you. You know why people like you, but they'll say things like this. And this is where you just have to just be quiet and just let them be like in awe of you. They'll say things like this: I can't put my finger on it, but there's just something about you. You're just so magnetic. I just can't get enough of you. And you won't just hear romantic partners say that about you. You'll hear friends say that about you. You'll hear people in general say that about you when you become really good at this. They'll be in their mind literally just fascinated about why you're so magnetic and they're so drawn to you. Meanwhile, you're thinking, I know exactly why you're drawn to me, and it's actually very purposeful and strategic why you're drawn to me, but I'm not going to tell you because it ruins the magic trick if I tell you what I did, okay? And this is where I want you to just absorb the magic trick. I'm like teaching you how to be a magician. Absorb the magic trick. And then as you absorb the magic trick, people are going to be like, oh my God, I don't know what it is about you. And you just say, I don't know either, guys. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe one day we'll figure it out. I don't know either. But you do know, and you are smart, and you are strategic, which makes it even that much more powerful. People feel drawn to you, and they don't know why. You know why. They don't know why, though. And it's fine. They don't have to know why. It's your secret. Me and you. Shh. Don't tell anyone. Okay? Right? Very powerful. Does that make sense? Someone says, say it again, please. I just got here. It's all available. If you miss any of the points, I'm not going to repeat them because I don't want to be repeating this multiple times. It's all available on my YouTube page because I'm live on YouTube at the same time. Just go to my YouTube page. It's my name right on top. That's why I'm pointing up on the top right. And then when you go on my YouTube page, you can just literally rewind the live. Even as it's live, you can rewind it and rewatch the points up until the ones that you missed, okay? Number one was to the fixation and fascination. Number two, you put on his glasses. Number three, you talk with your body. Number four, I want you to become a successful, seductive therapist. Okay? This is the type of energy I want you embodying, a seductive therapist. Okay? So yes, you're going to be a good listener. Okay? But I want you to throw some seductiveness in the way that you listen. Okay? And the way that you absorb information. Okay? So you're not just going to be a plain therapist. You're going to be a sexy therapist. Okay? Right? A really, really seductive one. Okay? So what I mean by a seductive therapist, right? It's not just about asking questions in a way where you're like, I don't want you coming out on the date and being like, oh, well, okay, so Tomisin, he mentioned these 10 questions that I should ask on this date. So I'm just going to ask you exactly 10.3 questions. And I want you to answer each and every question in exactly 3 minutes or less. And as you're answering this question, I want you to repeat the question back to me. I want you to put it in essay format. And I want you to tell me your reasonings as to why you think this was the best and most logical answer, okay? I don't want you going on your dates like a robot. Okay, very important. I know that some of you are like, that's ridiculous, Tomisin. I would never do that. But here's the thing. I also know that when I give you information about what to do on a date, I don't want you going into the date so stiff because you're like, Tomisin said I should ask this, and Tomisin said I should ask that. So like when you're looking at him, you're like thinking to yourself, what was the next step? Was I supposed to ask about the X now, or was I supposed to? I don't want you doing that, okay? Because he's gonna be like, what's going on with you? This is weird. This doesn't feel like a conversation to me, okay? Right? You're going to seduce him not by talking more, by the body language and everything we talked about and your energy, right? But you're gonna give off seductive energy just by simply being good at asking questions, your body language, and the way you go about things, okay? Right? Even in the way, okay, the best way for me to describe a seductive therapist, I want you to imagine this scenario, okay? Tell me if you can spot the difference between these two things, okay? So let's say I'm asking you a question and I'm like, let's say this is my glass of wine while we're on a date. I don't drink, but let's just imagine this is my glass of wine. So as I'm asking you the question, I'm just like, oh, so tell me about you and your ex. Yeah, sorry. I actually didn't even mean to do that. But yeah, tell me about you and your ex. Now, I want you to imagine, okay? Now, that was scenario number 1. I want you to imagine scenario number 2. So, can you tell me about you and your ex? Like, what have you two been through? I would love to know more about you and just where you've been. You're such a fascinating type of guy. I would love to know as much as I possibly can about the type of person you are. Does that feel different? Does that feel different to you, or does it not? Okay, obviously I'm not a girl, so I'm not gonna do it amazing. But does it feel different to you in your soul when I ask you the same question that way, or when I ask you in a way that I just look stiff? And I look like, yeah, this was the question I was supposed to ask, right? I give you that example so that you can better understand what it means to be a seductive therapist, right? It's not just about asking the question in general, but it's also about strategically trying to elicit a feeling as you ask the questions, right? Or as you try to extract the information, okay? So I say that to say you don't want to go out on your dates and make him feel like you're in a rush, okay? The worst thing you can do is go out on the date and make him feel like you're in a rush to get all this information and you got to fill the 2 hours with all the questions that you wrote down in your script and you're like a robot, okay? You want to be seducing him, right? And be seductive as you ask the questions. Take your time. You can be in your mind thinking about the next question you're going to ask and how you're going to set this up and how you're going to set that up. But when you're asking these questions, when you come out and actually say them, right? Or when you speak, I want it to be slow, like you're taking your time, like you're not in a rush, like you don't have anywhere to be. And then as he's answering the questions, I want you to actually give him the positive feedback like we talked about, like you're actually paying attention to what he has to say. Okay? Because when you're not in a rush, right? Remember what I said about planting specific emotions inside of people because it benefits you. When you're not in a rush and he starts to feel like you're relaxed and you're chill and, you're not, uptight or nervous or anything like that, it's going to make him feel like, oh, I'm relaxed too. This is a relaxing scene. We're here enjoying our date. I feel good. You look good. You have great energy. This is when see, when you start getting really good about this is when you'll hear people say all the time, I love your energy. And you'll be thinking to yourself, I'm doing something strategic, but I'm not actually saying anything. And you're talking about, I love your energy so much, right? You know that it comes from the way you subconsciously plant emotions inside of people. If I want you to be calm and relaxed, right, while you tell me everything about your life and who you are, I'm going to do things, right, to make you elicit that emotion from you subconsciously. Right? So I want to give you subconscious cues to make you feel like you should be relaxed. I'm not going to tell you to relax more and chill out. I'm going to do things that are strategically going to make you feel more relaxed. Okay? Torres says, so seductive yet still bubbly. Absolutely. And this is where, now I know for some of you guys are like, please, Tomisin, but just tell. Exactly how should I do it? Exactly how is it should I say this? Should I say that? What's the exact stance I should take? Should I cross my legs or should I open them? Should I sit to the left side or sit to the right? And this is where I want you to there's a certain point where after I give you the technique, you're actually going to have to go out and do it so that you can actually experience how to balance it, okay? Unfortunately, there's only so much I can teach you until you actually need the real world experience of doing it. And the process of doing it, you'll start to feel when you're in the pocket, we call it, okay? right? Because it's not something I can just explain to you word for word. And then when you go out and do it, you'll know that you're doing it because I explained it to you word for word. You're going to have to practice it and practice having the balance of being bubbly while being seductive. And as you get better at this, you'll know when you're in the pocket. And the way you'll know you're in the pocket is because the exact type of response you'll be getting from a guy, he'll just be talking and yapping, and you'll start to notice even as he's talking to you, his eyes don't change, go from you, right? He's looking at you, he's paying attention to you, right? And as you're steering the conversation, he's just going wherever you steer the conversation, okay? That's when you know that you have a man in a trance, okay? I know this sounds really like dark here and really crazy, but that's how you know you have a guy in a trance, where you're literally steering the conversation wherever you want the conversation to go. And as you're steering the conversation, it's like you're Wonder Woman. You know how Wonder Woman has the lasso of truth? When she puts the lasso of truth around you, you just immediately start spewing your guts, just yapping everything that you feel, no matter how deep and no matter how dark. When you're in the pocket here and you're doing this the right way, you'll have that same effect on the guys. And when you notice it, you'll be like, oh God, I'm here. You're literally, you don't even realize, you're not even like, your subconscious is so deep into whatever you're feeling right now, you don't even realize you're on a date telling me everything and you're spilling everything. And you don't even realize that I'm not even talking. Right? You don't realize that. And trust me, I'm saying that as someone not just talking out of my butt, but as someone who's actually practiced this and utilized this, okay? You'll be shocked, and I was shocked too, when I utilize this so well, people will go on 20, 30-minute tangents just sharing and just yapping. And even the people that wanted to know more about me, they'll be like, I don't feel like I know anything about you. I've been in, 3-4 month relationships with people, and 3 months down the line, they'll be like, I don't feel like I know that much about you. I feel like I talk all the time. And even when they acknowledge that, they can't pull themselves out of it because I'm so good at sucking them back into the trance of just yapping and just talking and just sharing, because it's so hard to get out of it when you're in it. Because when you do it the right way and you make yourself look so fascinated and interested and fixated on them, it's so hard to not continue yapping. It's so hard to just not keep sharing, right? Ayla says, mesmerize them on the first attempt. It's very possible. It's very possible to do that. And when you can do that, I'm telling you, for guys, especially who are more emotionally stunted, absolutely impossible for them to ever think to themselves, damn, I was talking the whole time. Let's talk about you some more. It's so hard because they're not aware of how you're emotionally steering this conversation to exactly where you want it to be, right? Shabia says, but we want to yap as well and have emotional connection to someone. Yes, and this is what I always tell you guys. I know you want to have emotional connection with someone as well. I know you want to yap as well. Your chance to yap will come, 1, with your girlfriends. That's who you should be trauma dumping on. And then 2, your chance to yap is with a guy who is actually invested in you and consistent with you, that has shown you that you can trust him with that information that you are going to share with him about you, okay? That is the person who you yap to and you trauma dump on, okay? The guy that actually is committed to you, not random men that you go out on a first date with, okay? I know you want to have a connection, but this is why I say it actually benefits you, because you stop yourself from becoming overly invested in someone who's not even here for the right reasons. You actually put him in a position where he's so much more emotionally connected to you than you are in him. And now, because you're less emotionally connected to him, I know this sounds horrible, you're actually able to deal with him from a more rational standpoint. Okay, rather than dealing with him from an emotional standpoint where all you can think about is, how much you want to be with him and how much you want to make this work. Rather, you're able to absorb him for who he really is, and you're able to analyze his behavior for what it actually is, because you're not so deeply emotionally invested in a guy who isn't emotionally invested in you. And this is what I want to help you understand. In your relationships, for most of you, you've actually been in the opposite scenario where, because you trauma dump, because you yap, and maybe even some of these guys were really good at asking you questions where you just told him everything about you, you were so much more emotionally connected to him than he was to you. And then by the time he pulled away from you or he pulled back from you, you felt like you really wanted to make this work because you felt like you had such a deep connection with a guy that didn't even feel like he had a deep connection with you. And it's part of the reason why you are in relationships or situations where you feel like this guy's a psychopath. How can he spend this much time with me but not actually care about me? That's part of the reason why. Because you spent all the time connecting with him, but he wasn't really connecting with you because you were yapping, you were trauma dumping. All he was saying is, damn, that's crazy. Oh my God. Wow. That's so amazing, or that's so wild, or whatever it may be, right? And some guys are really good. So I'm going to be honest with you. Some guys are really good at being good listeners where you forget that you're the only one doing the yapping, but you just feel so good about being able to do the yapping that you don't even care to acknowledge it. Right? Does that make sense? Right? So I want you guys to understand that. So number one was the fixation and fascination. Number two, you put on his glasses. Number three, you talk with your body. Number four, you're a seductive therapist. And number five, now this is kind of like the bonus one that I want to give to you for those of you, because I know a lot of you are going to be out on, dinner dates and things like that for a first date, right? That's the typical thing. Now, number five, really, really neat trick that you can attempt to do when you go out on a date. I want you to what's called isolate his attention, okay? So this is a really cool trick to do because it's psychology based, but it's so subtle. A lot of people won't realize what you're doing, but it helps you in the long run. Have you ever noticed going out with someone, if you're speaking to them, or maybe even if you were like talking to someone and in the background there's a lot going on, behind you, or on the dinner date there's a lot going on. You got the waitresses, you got people yelling and screaming, you got babies crying, you got food coming in and out and things like that. And have you ever been on a date with someone and while you're speaking to them, they're kind of like scanning the scene around them? There's so much more stimulus going on. You got the server walking, this person's yelling, this person's chatting, you got this couple over here, this couple over there, you got food over here, food over there. And there's so much stimulus going on behind you. Even though they're on a date with you, they're like, as they're talking to you, they're scanning all the different stimulus going on. And they're like looking around you. They're looking here. They're looking there. They're looking here. They're trying to pay attention to you. But all this different stimulus behind you is catching their eye. So this is a really interesting, neat strategic trick I want to teach you. Don't tell anyone about this. Just me and you. Okay? Really neat trick. When you go out on your dinner dates, because that's what most of you are going to end up doing, I want you to actually make sure you try to get the seat where there is the least going on behind you. So if you can get a seat in the restaurant where you're next to a wall, right? So your back is facing the wall. Meanwhile, you're facing all the stimulus. That's really good. That's really good. Why? Because everything that we talked about today, it will kind of aid in that, right? In the effect that gives when literally all he has to pay attention to is you. So you can only imagine when the only stimulus is you because behind you is a wall. Now, when you're sitting there and you're paying so much close attention to him, you have direct eye contact with him. You look like you're really fascinated with him and enchanted by him, and you're really interested in what he has to say, right? As you're doing that, while there's nothing else going on behind you, now he becomes even more locked in to just you. And he's even more stimulated by you because you're the only stimulus going on here, right? Brooke says men don't want to face the wall, though. I know that. This is why I said it's a sneaky trick where if you use an excuse that you want to be on the wall or you want to be on the booth or whatever it may be, sneaky, you can bring the excuse knowing that it'll help him just focus on you, okay? And you'll be able to see, the thing about it is too, when he's only able to focus on you, he'll be able to get deeper into his own emotions because he doesn't have all this other stimulus going around, right? He can actually kind of think to himself. It's a little bit of quiet in a public area where he can think to himself, what do I want? What do I think? How do I feel? While he's seeing you pay attention to him. And this is the very important key, okay? When you isolate his attention, you need to be making him feel like he has 100% of your attention. So you can't have your back to the wall and he only can focus and see you. And then as he can only focus and see you, he sees you scanning the room. Okay, you don't want that. You want, as he is focused on you to also look like you're hyper focused on him. So this is how he gets into a trance, because now he forgets that he's even in a restaurant. He just feels like it's you and him there by yourselves. And it can become really, really, really powerful, okay? Especially when you combine this with all the other stuff that we discussed earlier, where you're doing the fixation on fascination, you put on his glasses, you talk with your body, and you're a seductive therapist. If you can couple that with this is like the bonus trick, that you can have as little as you possibly can, okay? Not all of you are going to be able to get the wall behind you, but as little stimulation going on as you possibly can. Don't sit in a place where behind you is 10 million things going on and it's you there and you're competing with 10 million things for his attention. Try to be strategic and sit somewhere where there's little to nothing going on behind you, that when you're fixated on him, all he has to stimulate himself with is you. Because then he walks away from the date with you thinking about how good it was to spend that time with you and how his attention was so focused on you. Remember, people don't remember what you say to them. They only remember how you make them feel. So when they think back to you and their experience with you, and they're thinking about how locked in they were with you and how they felt like, damn, it was me and her in this entire room, but I literally felt like it was just us two, but there was 1,000 people in that room, right? That is such a powerful emotion to leave someone with, thinking and feeling about you, that they say to themselves, wow, she must have something that I really like or I really want. For me to literally be on a date with her and feel like the world stopped. You ever hear people say stuff like that? When I'm with you, I feel like the world has just stopped and nothing else is going on but me and you. It's great, right? And you can actually elicit that emotion out of people, right? By being strategic about that, right? Right? Irarita says, ladies, to avoid you being distracted, pick a place you've been before. Actually, that's pretty good advice, okay? If you are concerned with having too much stimulus going on, that you're looking around and that you won't properly be able to do this technique that we discussed today as well, yes, I would agree with that. Go somewhere where you've been before so that you're not super, just going around, your eyes are wandering and this and that, and he doesn't feel like you're fixated on this conversation, because you don't want that either. You don't want him feeling like you're not actually locked in and focused in on this conversation and you're more worried about everything going on behind him. The same way it doesn't feel good to you if you're speaking is the same way it won't feel good to him if he's speaking. And remember, you want to get a whole bunch of information from him. And all of this that we discussed today is going to help the guys want you more, number one. It's also going to help you get way more information on him so that you can be making the most important decision of your life, which is, am I going to be investing my time and energy into you or not? Right? Does that make sense? Gigi said, should we be concerned if they don't ask questions back? I'll be honest with you. I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no simply because the reality of it is them asking you questions doesn't help you know more about them. And I want you to understand this. Of course, guys who are interested in you are naturally going to want to ask you questions as well. That's going to be natural. However, I will be honest with you. When you become really good at this, guys are going to forget to ask you questions because you're so good at this. So some guys might actually have interest in you, but because you're so good at steering the conversation and putting them in a trance, they just keep dumping and they don't realize that they're dumping. Okay. So you have to understand that as you get better at this, it becomes harder for people to ask you questions because they forget to ask you questions because they're in such a trance. But I also want you to understand, even if he doesn't ask you questions because he's not interested in you, you'll still be able to get that information that he's not interested in you because of the way he's talking and what he's talking about. You understand what I'm saying? Right? So for example, if a guy's only dating you as a rebound and you're getting him to yap a lot and he's not asking a lot about you because he's not that interested in you because you're a rebound, you're going to hear that you're a rebound in the way that he describes how he feels about his ex. So as you're getting him to trauma dump, you're actually getting a lot of answers on why he might not be asking you questions as well. So it kind of always works in your favor the more information that you gather. You like, it always ends up being a win-win. Vice versa, it always ends up being a lose-lose when you share and trauma dump on someone else and you do all the yapping. Okay. I know it sounds really counterintuitive and like it doesn't make any sense. I promise you, once you go out into your life and you begin trying all this stuff that we talk about, you'll realize how much of a 180 your dates will take, and your life will take, honestly, because you can use this in your work life. You can use this with your friendships. You can use this with your family. And trust you me, your life will be different when you realize how to get people talking, get people to like you, get people to want you more, get people to be more interested in you and fascinated by you. And they'll all think that it's magic. They'll all think it's your energy when it's actually your strategy. But don't tell anyone I told you. Okay? Shh, just be quiet. Just be quiet. It's our little secret. Okay? Right? Jacqueline says, what kind of questions should I ask? I actually have a whole show dedicated to the exact type of questions that are the best on dates. So just go over to my YouTube page, and in the live section, you'll be able to find that. It's a great long 2-hour show. I think I did it multiple times on really good questions to ask. I don't want to go too much in detail in this show because that's not the purpose of today's show. It's more about the broader things you can do in general and the emotions you can elicit in the way that you present yourself on these dates, right? What if they were to catch on, someone asks? Well, let me tell you this. You're thinking in your mind people are going to catch on because we're talking about this. I can assure you people do not catch on when you get good at this. And the reason I know that is because guys have also used that strategy on you. When you love dumping and you love yapping, I can assure you, you don't realize how much yapping you're doing. Even if you do realize how much yapping you're doing, you still yap because you love yapping. Okay. Right? Does that make sense? Okay, guys. With that being said, do you know what time it is? I want to know if you know what time it is. It's a very, very special time. And for those of you who are new here, you will be confused and unsure of exactly what time it is. I'm going to ask you again. Do you know what time it is? Can you tell me what time it is? Here we go now. Do you know what time it is? Can you tell me what time it is? Here we go now. Do you know what time it is? Can you tell me what time it is? Here we go now. Do you know what time it is? Can you tell me what time it is? I want to know what time is it in the chat now. What time is it in the chat now? Tell me what time is it in the chat now. What time is it in the chat now? Tell me what time it is. Can you tell me what time it is? I want to know. Can you tell me what time it is? I want to know what time it is. I want to know. Can you tell me what time it is? I want to know what time it is. I want to know. All right, guys, let's hop over into the Discord because I know a lot of you are confused about what this even is and how this even works and what we're even doing here if you're new. Don't worry, you'll learn. So the Discord is essentially where all the amazing members of the Players Club get the opportunity to ask me a question about their relationship or situationship, and I answer their questions live on the show. Now, we have two versions of Discord questions. We have regular relationship advice in our Discord, and we have what's called premium relationship advice. Now, regular relationship advice, I answer your questions first come, first serve. However, because I get so many questions, I'm probably behind by a month now in terms of questions and by like 100 different questions. So if you ask your question today, unfortunately, I won't be able to get to it today. However, if you are an eager beaver and you can't wait for your question to be answered, you have the option to also donate to our second version of relationship advice, which is called Relationship Advice Premium, where you donate to the show and then you put your question in Relationship Advice Premium, and I answer it live on the show because you get to skip the line if you're in Premium. Now, the way that you donate to the show is by going to the link in my description if you're on TikTok, or it's going to be down in the link in my description if you're on YouTube as well. I'm also going to put it in the pinned comment for you guys, and you can ask your question and I will answer it. If not on this show, then the next show, because the VIP, the Relationship Advice Premium section, gets to skip the line. So I'm going to put that and pin that for you guys as well in the YouTube chat so you guys can see that as well. All right, guys? So those are your two options there. Let's hop right into the first one. And before we do the first one, I want to acknowledge some of the donations we had in the YouTube chat here, because I was ranting today. Mariana said before the show even started, she donated $5 and said excited for this one. Tamara says, how do you navigate minimizing disclosure with someone you already have history or familiarity with, school friend, the same circle? Do you say minimizing disclosure as in like you like not yapping so much about yourself? Just start, right? Just start it, right? Don't be thinking so hard about it. Just start it by the next time you see them or you come across them or hang out with them. Try to be thinking to yourself, how can I ask you more about you? Right. And I promise you, as your mindset changes going into seeing someone, right, where you're thinking, how can I ask you more about you and learn more about you? Your mind will be on asking good questions and trying to understand them and understand their thought process. And then, like I said, you kind of get a break psychologically, because as they're asking their questions, as they're answering your questions, you're also thinking of the next follow-up question. So just start by asking more questions. It's really that simple. You don't have to. And the more questions you're asking, right, the less time is being taken up by you yapping. You get what I'm saying? Love Smith says, I had a first date with a white male executive. We have our second date Saturday, and he knows, and he keeps texting pineapple-y. Is he looking for hookups? If someone, I'll be honest with you guys. Oh, thank you for the donation of $10 as well. If a guy is constantly only focused on the pineapples over text while he's trying to date you, then that is a clue to you that that is what he's here for. So you have to start making a decision after you come to that realization. Do I really want to keep dating you when it's clear that you're only looking for that? Because you have to understand, you coming out and telling him that he needs to stop talking to you about pineapple related stuff, that's only going to make him hide it so that you don't realize it until it's too late. So you don't even need to address it, but you should be banking that information and asking yourself, do I feel, this is where you have to start using your own discernment. Do I feel like you're too hyper pineapple fixated that you're clearly not invested in this for a real relationship? So when you go out on the second date, now I want you to start asking him questions to see where his mind is at. And if you constantly hear him talk about a relationship as it relates to sleeping together before being in a relationship, now you know where his mind is at, type of thing. Trinity says, great session today. Thank you very much. And she donates to Frank. I think that's Swiss Frank. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, guys, let's hop into our first question. So Starshine starts off by saying, inconsistent. My PayPal is blocked, so I donated in the YouTube chat instead. I saw it. So I'm 26, dating a 25-year-old guy for 2 months now. What does it mean if he's very inconsistent via text or phone calls? We see each other about once a week, and he rarely texts me / initiates contact between dates. I know this is good in a way, but his behavior concerns me, okay? When he texts me and I text back, he takes from 2 to 10 hours to respond. He sometimes leaves me undelivered for 2 days. That is not normal. Normal boyfriend behavior. Okay. It's only been 2 months. All right. Is it? He told me he's a bad texter at the beginning without me asking him. So he already, this is something that he knows he does. Without me asking him. And so am I. But when you're into someone, don't you have the urge to check your phone or reply quick? Is this a red flag? He does not make me feel secure while we are apart from each other. Sometimes I even wonder if he's secretly still messing with his ex of 6 months. I tried to stay strong and rarely give in to the anxiety I feel regarding this, even though I really like this guy. I don't initiate and wait for him to reach out. Sometimes I think he's playing the waiting game on purpose, even though he claims to want me in his life. P.S. He always pays for everything when we're spending time together, booked a trip for next month, and plans romantic dates. Assures me I'm the only girl he's communicating with, again without me asking, and very territorial over me. I'm just confused about these mixed feelings and the discrepancy between his intentions with me and the fact he can go days without thinking to reach out. PS2, we've been going on dates, hanging out since the beginning of June, already had pineapples 4 times. It's only been 2 months. Okay, let's see. He has been inconsistent in our communication even before that, as we were flirting over. Okay, so if he was inconsistent in communication even before that, why would you sleep with him? Yeah, at that point. As we were flirting over text since March, I don't want to get attached and haven't disclosed anything about my feelings or desires yet, as I don't find him boyfriend material-ish so far. So then my question becomes, why are you entertaining a guy that you actively feel like is not boyfriend material? This is what I mean when I talk to you guys about wasting your time. But he always finds a way to charm, and he's being a magician in bed. Great. So like what can you do with that in terms of a husband? Like I don't want to get mad already. Would instilling a sense of urgency even be possible in this case? I want him to outright commit and make his intentions clear. This makes me so mad when you guys say this. Build a sense of urgency. I want him to commit. Why do you do these things, right? Why do you ask me of these things? It's like you guys come to me and you say, okay, Tomisin, so basically I gave away all of my leverage. Now explain to me, how can I gain some leverage to get him to want to commit to me? Why, if you knew that this was seriously that important to you, why would you easily give up all of your leverage? Right? I hate to make this sound so transactional, but like that is your leverage. You understand? He wants something from you. So if you know that you're looking for urgency and commitment from him, why are you openly giving out your leverage and then coming back and saying, well, I gave away all my leverage, so tell me how to negotiate. Girl, you can't negotiate when you have no leverage. That's not how business works. Okay? I know this is a relationship, but the same thing applies. Okay? He introduced me to his mom and sister when I stayed at his place once. They kind of heard me screaming. What? What are you talking about? What you mean by that? They heard you screaming. Screaming for why? So I doubt he'd be so bold if he still was with his ex. I tell you, boy. I believe he's very good at playing games and could actually be red pill influence. Heard him speak of cucks and simps. I'm not going to describe to you what cucks are for those of you who don't know. Just search it on your own time. With utter disdain, describing other mutual friends of ours, which I don't find fitting into these categories. PS3. He has said also multiple times how much he likes and appreciates my feminine behavior and outlook, that I insist on a man being a gentleman and carrying the load. He said this is inspiring and that's only right. However, I get the feeling by his actions or lack thereof passively that he's used to being the princess himself in previous relationships. It's funny because the guys tell you that they want to respect you and they don't want you to make it easy for them. And then somehow you guys think that the best way to go about it is to make things easy for him. Okay. So what he's actually describing to you is the fact that you give him the space to be a man and pursue you. He actually really enjoys that. Right. And that's actually making him feel more like a man, the pursuit of you. Now, I know that you're in your mind, you're thinking, bro, you don't pursue me. You barely even text me and things like that. But what I'm saying is it's only been 2 months. Okay. In the span of 2 months, let's even say, for the sake of argument, something crazy, like you go on 2 dates a week. Going on 2 dates a week with someone when you first meet them is already, a lot. So let's imagine you go out on 2 dates a week with someone. That's only in the span of 2 weeks going to be what? 16 dates. Okay. Right. That's if you went on 2 dates per week. Okay. And so I say that to say, give it some time. Okay. Give it some time. Let things build. Okay. Let things build over time and let things, escalate over time. Don't be so hyper fixated that, oh my God, everything hasn't happened at once. That means he doesn't like me. Hold your water. Okay. Hold your water. Take a chill pill. Just keep relaxing and let him come to you when he's ready to come to you. He might be busy, right? Obviously, yeah, I get it. A couple of days not texting you back, you're getting a little bit anxious about that, but just give it a little bit. So far, what you said, because I can't say that he's not interested in you, because you did say that he's been, in terms of he spends time with you, he makes sure to be a gentleman, right? And he's very territorial, right? You have some signs there of someone who is showing some interest in you. Now, I will say mistake came when having pineapples with him so early on. But I will say he's showing some signs of a little bit of interest in you. So I don't think right now you need to be doing anything to try to push this to start working out faster than it needs to, especially the position that you're in where you don't have any bargaining power, right? You already gave away a lot of your leverage and a lot of the urgency you could have made him feel by him not sleeping with you yet. You already gave that away. So I think for you right now, you need to continue doing what like he's been talking about, just kind of being in your feminine and allowing him to come to you when he's ready so that he can recognize within himself, I speak to her because I want to speak to her. The worst thing you can do, Starshine, in this situation is try to force him to speak to you by saying, hey, you don't text me enough. Hey, you don't call me enough. Hey, you don't take me out enough type of thing. Because then he's only going to push back against that. And he's probably going to talk to you less or want you less because he feels like you're trying to force him to do that. The second thing I want to acknowledge for you and that you need to figure out is, why are you dating a guy that you don't think is boyfriend material, right? You said, I don't find him boyfriend material-ish so far. So why are you investing your time and energy even bothering to go out on dates with a man who you don't think is boyfriend material? The logic does not make sense. And I have to continue pointing this out to all of you that you need to take your time and your energy so seriously and valuably that you stop wasting it on guys that you don't see or foresee a future with. So if a guy is, let's just say for the sake of argument, you need a guy to be texting you every day. And that's the only type of guy you can have in your life that will be texting you every day, calling you every day, speaking to you all the time, 24/7, and never want to not speak to you. Let's just say that's the thing that you need. Okay. I'm not even here to tell you if that's right or wrong. If that's the thing that you know you need and that's what you need in a husband, then you need to make it clear for yourself that if a guy I come across is not that, then I probably should be looking for a different guy. If that's the criteria that you know that you need. Okay, so if you're telling me that for multiple reasons he's not boyfriend material for you, move forward. Why waste your time on a guy who you're openly identifying is not boyfriend material to you? That is a complete and utter waste of your time. Why not give that energy back to yourself? And then when you do invest it in someone else, it's someone that you actually think is boyfriend material. Don't be silly. Okay. Next we have here, let's see, guys. Small update, clarifications to yesterday. Okay. So I want to make you guys aware, just so you guys don't think that this is a thing. People that ask multiple questions in the relationship advice premium are donating multiple times. So I've already verified that Mary donated multiple times, which is why she asked multiple questions. So I don't want you guys to think that you can donate one time and then ask a whole bunch of questions and you constantly get to skip. That's not how that works. Just because we have to be fair to everyone else. So if you want multiple questions, you got to donate multiple times so that it's fair for everyone else who's waiting. Okay, so Mary said she had a question yesterday. You guys should go watch that to know her full question. She says, hi, everyone. I'm the girl from yesterday's story. I didn't realize everything. Oh, I think actually this is the... Yes, this is there was a second part to this. So this is from today, right? So this is your part number 2. Regarding his message from yesterday, he said, just to let you know, I'm leaving soon. You suggested, oh yeah, just to let you know, I'm leaving soon. You suggested I ask him what that meant, which I did. Okay. And he replied with a voice message asking if I was pretending not to understand or if I genuinely didn't get it. So let me give you guys a quick summary. Basically, this guy that she was kind of going back and forth with talking to, he essentially has kind of been wishy-washy. And now he just messaged her recently, like as of like a day ago, that, hey, just to let you know, I'm leaving soon. He basically was trying to bait her into saying, okay, so then let's go out on a date. He wanted her to be the man. He wanted her to put on her construction pants, get down and dirty and be the man and ask him out on a date because he's leaving soon. So I told her, don't do anything and force him to be a man and say, oh, okay, so what does that mean? So that he can fix his mouth to say, yeah, I'm leaving soon, so I want to go out on a date with you before I leave. Never, ever do the work for the man. And this was a prime example of how guys are going to try to bait you into doing the work for him so that he doesn't have to actually be a man and ask. It was satisfying to hear him be so direct and say that if I still wanted to see him again, now was the time because he's leaving soon. He sounded like a little boy asking if I had time for him, and I loved it. You see what you get when you do nothing. Let those men be men. Never forget, guys, when I'm saying guys, but I mean women, but never forget, as the woman, when a guy approaches you and he wants something from you, it is not your job to make it easier for him to get something from you. So if he wants to spend time with you, let him fix his mouth to say, I want to spend time with you. Can I spend time with you? Right? Guys are going to be very, very sneaky. It's 2024 now. They're going to say things like this, just to let you know I'm leaving soon. They're going to leave it there so that you can do the job when you get anxious. Oh, you're leaving soon? Oh, so can we go on a date on Friday? I would love to go out on a date with you on Friday. Are you free on Friday? Don't do it. And when you sit back, you relax, he'll come to you because he already wants something from you. And he'll fix his mouth to say it if he actually has some cojones. He was like, if you would like to meet, if you would like to see me again, we should meet now. You see how guys get nervous when they have to be a man? But it's good. It trains him that the only way to get access to you is to come out and ask for it. Not to sit around and hope that he's going to get it by backdooring. Okay? I know for a fact that his ego is big and it's not usually his style to be so straightforward. It's great though. You're training him. My question, if he brings up intimacy when we meet, what should I say? Say nothing. I'd also appreciate any general tips you have for the date. Don't worry, he said he's coming to my city and he'll pick me up. See how you get everything you want by doing absolutely nothing? Thank you so much again for your help and sorry for the confusion. It's okay. So, Mary, you got what you wanted by doing nothing, so let that be a lesson to you to do nothing. Okay? And in terms of him talking about intimacy on the date, I don't need you to come out and say, hey, I just want you to know you're never going to sleep with me and I'm so different than all the other girls and don't do any of that, okay? I just want you to make it very simple. When he talks about intimacy with you, I want you to redirect the conversation into something else, okay? And when I say redirect the conversation, I want you to redirect it into questions that pertain to information that you actually want to extract from him. Don't waste time talking about sleeping with each other. It's not actually going to benefit you in terms of extracting information. So watch this show and shows about asking questions so you can figure out how to redirect conversation back into information that you can actually use to better understand his mind frame. You understand what I'm saying? That's way better. Now, when it comes to intimacy in general, I don't want you going over to his house. Definitely don't be going over to his house and drinking wine or taking shots. Don't do any of that. If you're a smoker, don't be heading into his car and start smoking. Don't do none of that, okay? No need for these first few dates, because I believe you're still on the first few dates. No need to be going back to his house and doing nothing where it's just you and him, okay? Keep these dates public. Let him enjoy his time with you. Cut it short so that he can be thinking, because you're still in the early stages where he still needs to really have a lot of intention about you. So I would advise for you, cut it short, 2 hours maximum. Say you got to go home, you got work or whatever it is, so that he can be thinking, damn, I am going on this trip and I really want to see her either again soon or definitely as soon as I come back from this trip. Keep that pressure from him going, where he continuously wants to keep applying pressure. You got to give guys space so that they can keep applying pressure. If you are not giving him enough space because you're the one all on his body, he won't be able to apply any pressure. Okay, so that's my advice for you on that. But I'm glad you're getting what you want now when you sit back and you relax. Okay, see how that works? Now, let's head over into relationship advice, the free section here, and we will answer some of these questions here as well. All right. So the free section, as you can see, we got a whole bunch of different questions, probably over 100 that I have not answered. Let's start here and ask from here because I haven't answered this one yet. All right. So we have here Ania who says advice. How to know when a man comes back or misses me genuinely. How different his words or actions would be when it really would be about reconnecting. Is it possible to never be mistreated, but genuinely be loved and cared for? I'm already treating myself with respect, waiting for the right man, not to show off my body and with any revealing clothes, not sleeping over. I set boundaries and communicate my values. I don't treat men as a prize, and it really works because it led to serious obsession, even him being really emotional over me and crying. But I keep attracting men that are very very nice and lovey at first, but then wanting only one thing, not treating me like a valuable person. Sometimes they don't reveal their true intentions for a really long time. And the same thing it was with the obsessed man. He was all in love with me, saying how much he wants me to be his wife, pouring out his emotions and heart. But at the beginning of the first date, he started crying. What the hell? He was telling me that he can't feel anything, that he expected something else, that he regrets that it all feels like a dream, like I'm not real, like nothing around is real. What? In the Wattpad story? These guys be too dramatic, man. These guys want to be princesses. I asked him if it's because he doesn't feel anything to me. He went silent. What? What is this? So I told him, if you don't feel anything to me, it's okay. I can simply go back home or we can become friends. What? Why would you say what? He looked at me with tears and said, but I don't want to lose you. This is the first date. Chat, what is this? This is literally the first date. Lose you on what? You dated someone for 30 seconds. Anyways, since then, his mind magically changed from I feel nothing to, again, I want you as my wife. Yeah, this is just a word of advice for you, Ania. Stay away from men like this. Men like this, there's nothing wrong with having emotions, okay? Even as a guy. But men like this that are this emotionally up and down like this, you just need to stay away from them because you're not going to be as a masculine energy, he has to have some sort of stability within himself that you have room in your feminine energy to be emotional and feel things and go up and go down. Not that he can't feel things ever whatsoever. He definitely can express emotions, but he has to be a little bit more emotionally stable so that you can express your emotions. This first date, he's crying. I feel nothing. And then the next day he's like, I want you to be my wife, but I feel nothing. Like that's way too extreme. Okay. And that's just, that at that point, that's just unstable. And you can't work with that as a woman because you're going to be the one having to console him when he's going through these emotional roller coasters. And then so who's going to be there for you when you have some sort of emotional roller coaster? You're the woman. So you're supposed to have the emotional roller coaster. Not that he can't have emotions, but like he's not supposed to be like this all the time. He's supposed to be a stable force in your life so he can balance you out. And so I say that to say, I don't think that's not going to work. Okay. That's not my belief. I don't think that can work when he's like that on the first date. That's insane. He started being overly sticky towards me. He wanted to kiss. I said no because I catched bad vibes from him. I hope you did because I've already caught bad vibes. Later, he asked how I felt about the date. I told him that these sudden changes in his feelings didn't feel genuine and I didn't want to talk to him. Honestly, you should have just never spoke to him because I agree with you, but I don't even think that you needed to tell him that because now you're telling him what not to do. So you're making it clear to him why you don't like him so that he can stop doing that. He went on obsessed mode again, pouring his emotions. But I wanted to know the reason of him telling me I don't feel anything. He said that he expected something better from my looks. What? And started picking up on me. What? Okay. Now, after a year of not talking to him, he typed to me again with wanting to go out again on a second date. Okay, I'm gonna make that simple for you. I know you sent this message a while ago. Don't go on a date. If you're talking about this specific guy, don't go on that date. Absolutely no, not even a little bit. First telling me that I'm not enough and he expected something better from my appearance, and then saying I want to go out on a date with you or wanting to kiss me. I confronted him about that because I don't want to go out on dates with anyone who I think you might say who tries to humble me and changes his mind afterwards. Okay, I agree. That's not a good sign. Then you go on to say, tries to. Oh, I lost my place. Oh yeah, and he told me I don't understand it even myself. I come across you because you are important to me, and I feel that I don't want to lose someone who is so close to me. How you guys went on one date and he hasn't spoken to you in a year and a half. How are you guys so close? And that's why I just started thinking that I have something wrong with my brain. No, he does. And the source of what attracts me so much to you. Oh, that's what he's saying to you. Sorry, I was wondering. I was like, no, this is idiotic. And the source of what attracts me to you so much is I suspect is mainly that I have never felt such closeness from anyone except for you. Other girls were never so important to me as you are. That's what I miss, and that's why I regret it all so much, because it's something that I lost because of my decisions. I have this inner feeling that I regret my words and decisions. Once before our meeting, I also thought I was not enough for you. I miss love a little. I really regret my decisions and miss you. Okay, he then goes on to say, I asked why you would want to go out on a date with anyone who you don't even find pretty. Okay, I want to make you guys aware, this is just a side note for you guys. I want to make you guys aware of when people will apologize to you, like from a non-genuine place. It will sound a lot like this, because even when they apologize, you'll be like, I'm not really sure what you're even saying. It's what I call, it's like word vomit. And I've seen this from a lot of men before, where when they apologize, they just word vomit, where I'm sorry for the decisions I made, and it's so bad because I miss you so much, and I made mistakes, and the mistakes I made, I regret them, and the decisions I made, I regret them, and you're kind of like, well, what are you actually talking about though? I don't understand what you're actually talking about. You're not being specific, and it sounds very vague, like you took it out of a romance novel and you pasted it in here. Okay. This is one of those signs where one of two things is happening. Either he's not emotionally intelligent enough to know how to properly apologize for wronging someone, or number two, he literally just doesn't mean it genuinely, which is why he's being so vague, right? Very, very, just you wasted your time. You asked why we want to date if you didn't find pretty. See, now you're fishing for a reason when it doesn't matter. You don't want to be with this guy. And he answered, that's why I want to meet up with you, to see you again, to check if my brain is not effed up, because I have no idea why I said that. The last thing he said sounds like I would have to prove myself that I'm actually enough for him. That's why I ended the conversation here. I asked my friends about the situation. They answered that he's probably just wanting to come back because he knew the entry threshold point since I agreed to go out on a date with him, and no other girl wanted to be with him at that time. I would agree with that. It probably has to do with the fact that he knew he could probably get a date with you, and he probably had way less options. They said he probably only wanted one thing from me. I would agree. I asked him before if he was in a relationship since our date, and he said, no, I live under a rock. I don't know what to think about it at all anymore. Okay, So thank you for your question here, Ania. I'm going to be very straight up with you. For no reason whatsoever should you go out on a date with this guy, go out to eat with this guy, grab a snack with this guy, grab coffee with this guy. You shouldn't do anything with this guy, okay? I don't even want you going to the same movie theater as him, okay? Don't do nothing with him. Right? There's no reason for you to. He's a lot of red flags, and you can't do anything with a guy like that. There's no offense to him, right? Like I said, nothing wrong with being emotional, but you can't do anything with a guy who is on that, wide of emotional extremes on a day-to-day basis, or for in some cases, in an hour-to-hour basis. It's just that's exhausting. And there's no way you could possibly build a relationship off of that foundation. You will always be frustrated for the entirety of the relationship because you won't understand why he's doing any of the things that he's doing. Nothing's going to make sense to you. And someone says narcissist detected. Honestly, it's going to feel a lot like that, like being in a relationship with a narcissist. I don't know him, so I don't want to cast any aspersions on his character, but you're going to feel like... The reality of it is the way you're just describing it here, it's like he wants to make you feel like it's your job to do more for him, to prove to him something that other girls haven't proven to him. It's just so stupid. Like, nobody wants him. That's why he's here begging for you to see you again, okay? It's just he's talking like he's in a Romeo and Juliet novel and he doesn't even know you. That's love bombing, and people only do that to manipulate you. So no reason to go back to this guy, worry about him, worry about what he thinks. It doesn't matter because he's not what you're looking for. Don't waste time on him. In fact, block him so he can't continue to contact you and word vomit on you ever again. Don't bother, okay? Next we have here, let's see. I'll do a few in the free section today so we can catch up. This one was deleted. You deleted yours. Okay. Red says, men are confusing or women are complicated. Hey, Tommy, a guy 22, I think, you don't know his age, that I was interested in said he didn't want commitment, so I moved on very quickly. I feel like that's the end of it. Okay, I feel like that's all you needed. He ghosted me for a month, and I didn't care to text him again after ghosting me. Oh, okay. He then sends me a pineapple video. He doesn't speak to you for a month, and then his return to your life is sending you a pineapple video. Wow. That's a first. I will say that's a first in the Players Club Discord that I've ever heard of anyone doing that. That's honestly psychopath behavior. Let's see where this goes. This might be interesting. We were not close like that. I ignored him because WTF. I agree. He then added me on social media. And so that's just never got addressed. And I decided to hear him out because I think that's fair. He came back into your life after ghosting you by sending you porn. I don't even know if I can say that. Okay, by sending you pineapple videos. I didn't mean to say that. And your thought process is that he deserves for you to hear him out. If he sends you a pineapple video, what do you think his guys? I recently came to the realization that I do need to do 24-hour streams because I can see how confused some of you are. Because this act is not confusing at all. What do you think a guy who sends you porn for the first time after not speaking to you is thinking and feeling and wanting from you? I keep saying it, but I'm supposed to say pineapple videos, right? Be so for real. I think he was just playing games, but he swears he wasn't. What? Yet he said he was just sabotaging our friendship in order to gain control. He also told me that he's surprised I'm mad because instead of calling him out right away, I ignored him. I'm so confused because if I actually called his behavior out right away after ghosting me, what makes him think that he will actually respect me like that. He won't, so don't fall for the trap. He just wants you to continue chasing him whenever he withdraws from you so that he can continue getting princess treatment from you. I told him, out of respect for my boyfriend, I don't talk to other guys. Chat, I'm going to need to take a stretch. Okay? Just let me take a stretch. Because, yeah, this type of stuff, yeah. I gotta take a stretch for a second. Oh, my God. Wow. Okay. So let's get this straight. What's your name here? Red. This whole time, this was happening while you had a boyfriend. So I don't want you guys to miss the context here. So he sent you a pineapple video after not speaking to you for a month. Now you have a boyfriend and he sends you a pineapple video. Quite inappropriate if you have a boyfriend. But then when he adds you to social media, you chose that the best decision to make was to hear the guy out who you once were trying to have a romantic relationship with, so that already makes it inappropriate, but also just recently sent you a pineapple video. And you have a boyfriend while you're having this conversation with him about your relationship that you were once in with him. I'll just leave it at that, and I won't cast any judgment, and I'll let you ponder on whether you think that's right or not. Okay. I told him, out of respect for my BF, so now that's how you're gonna, whatever. I don't talk to other guys, and he said, I wish you didn't tell me that you have a BF because now I'm going to pursue you. You know, I don't want to make this too spiritual here, but Red, I want you to really be thinking about the type of energy you allow in your life, because I'm telling you, you let certain type of people into your life and you give attention and energy to them, it will only bring a lot of bad things into your life. I can assure you of that. People who think like this want nothing good for you. I will promise you that if you take anything away from this. People who talk like that, they want nothing good for you. They only want to come into your life to cause chaos. Only. And they actually feel good about coming into your life and causing chaos and wreckage and leaving you damaged and broken. So the fact that you're even considering being open to hearing anything he has to say at this point is insanity. A week later, he has still been texting me, but his messages are ignored. Why not just block him? Why not just block him? What are you gaining from watching him message you over and over again like that? What are you actually gaining? Is it an ego boost for you? Right? Why does he all of a sudden want me when he can't have me? Why? Can you please explain this R-worded behavior? Okay, let me make this simple for you. Stop concerning yourself with why he's messaging you and accept the fact that him even having a conversation with you like this is already inappropriate. And you don't have any business entertaining anyone who is talking to you like this. Okay? Who cares why he's messaging you? Block him. And you know, Red, I know for all of us, it's a lot easier to justify things for ourselves because it's us, and it's a lot harder to see things from someone else's perspective. But Red, I honestly want to ask you, if a girl that was once, had a thing with your boyfriend, messaged him, sent him a pineapple video, and then went on to say, oh, now that you told me I have a girlfriend, I'm really going to go after you now. What would you want your boyfriend to do? Continue just allowing that girl to message him all the time? Or would you ask or expect your boyfriend to put his foot down and just block her? Because once someone makes it very extremely clear, not only are they only here to sleep with you or do something inappropriate with you, but on top of that, they're actually going to try to, ruin your relationship because now they want to pursue you because you have a girlfriend or boyfriend. Don't you think, like, at what point does the line get drawn where someone in your life becomes too toxic that you can't even allow them to have any access to you anymore? Do you understand? Like, at what point is there a boundary where you say, you can't speak to me like that? Because me even allowing you to message me is disrespectful, as if you would have an opportunity to speak to me like that, right? And this is what I mean when I say you have to be so obsessed with your self-respect that you don't allow guys to even have the chance to approach you in this disrespectful manner. Sending you the pineapple video should have already been the last straw. But even if that couldn't be the last straw for you, this should have been the absolute last straw. And I'm not talking about ignore him last straw. I'm talking about blocking him last straw. Because whether or not you're saying, oh, but I'm just blocking him because I'm not going to talk to him now. But if I ever want to talk to him in the future and I break up, it doesn't matter. Because why would you want someone in your life that thinks like this? Why? Even if you are single, why would you want and invite someone with this type of energy into your life that is thinking to themselves, damn, now that you have a boyfriend, now that you have some sort of happiness, I want to come into your life so I can make sure you have nothing but chaos? Why would you even want to be friends with someone like that? Why would you even want someone like that to have your number? Why would you even want someone like that to be able to fall? You should want to be far, far, far away from people with that type of energy towards you, or just in general. You should want to distance yourself completely from people like that. Don't even have them be able to call you or talk to you, because you should be so obsessed with your self-respect and so obsessed with guarding your energy that you don't allow people like that in your space. I know that sounds very spiritual, but I'm so serious about that. You got to be very, very cognizant about that, especially for you as a woman, that you don't let this is crazy that he would say that and even be bold enough to continue messaging you after the fact of saying that. It's insanity. And I think that if you haven't already, you should block him, because what is even the purpose of receiving his messages? I ask at that point. He's made it clear what he wants, and he's made it clear that he's not looking to do anything respectful or nice. Why even bother continuing to view his message or allowing him to even contact you? Waste of time, and honestly doesn't benefit you whatsoever. Okay. Next we have here, let's see. Okay, we got Shug. All right. So Shug says, hi, Tomisin. Sugar, I said Sugar. She says Sugar. Me or his baby mother? Oh boy. You guys know it's going to be some drama when you hear baby mother in the title. Hi, Tomisin. So my boyfriend and I have been together for a little over a month. From what he told me, he and his baby mama are not together. But the first day he met me, he was on his way there. I didn't know then. I had just closed from work and was walking home when he stopped on the road to give me a ride, which I rejected, but I gave him my contact. Okay, I don't have a problem with you giving him your contact, but I need there to be a little bit of I don't know how to say this, but there's a certain type of mentality you have to have to ride on the road, see someone on the road and invite them into your car to give them a ride that you've never met them. I say that to say you need to be thinking to yourself, is someone that would actually think that that's appropriate or cool to do? Is that someone that is has all their, is all the way there? Because it just strikes me as very odd behavior. Not that he would want your number, but the idea that he would just blatantly, roll up on you and then ask you if you wanted to hop in the car and get a ride. That doesn't strike me as someone who has the social awareness to understand why certain things are inappropriate. And it makes me nervous to think, what else do they not understand is socially appropriate or inappropriate? Because asking a stranger who you've never met to hop in your car so you can give them a ride, that's weird. That's weird. And if he can't understand why that's kind of like weird and strange, then I feel like he might not be all the way there type of thing. Okay? Right? Just a side note. So I don't think that's someone you should be giving your number to. Okay. We had a long chat that same night after he asked you to give you a ride. He wanted us to go out that same evening, but I rejected again. What is with that? What is with him? Like, he just met you. Okay. See what I'm talking about, guys? The next day, he called me in the morning on his way to work, and we had a small random chit chat. That evening, does he not have work? This is the type of things you should be thinking about. Don't you have to go to work? Why are you calling me early in the morning? That evening, as we were chatting, I told him I wanted to go get some money from the ATM and send it to someone, so he offered to take me. You don't see how this is a safety hazard? How old are you? Sorry, I even forgot. This is your boyfriend now. Okay. He ended up giving me the money instead, and we hanged out for a while. So he pays you for your time. The next day was his birthday, so we planned on going to dinner. He got me a dress for it, and it was a fun night. Chat, I don't want you to forget in this message, this is literally day number 2. So he saw her on the road, asked if she wanted a ride to where she was going. She said no. That same night, he asked to see her. She said no. The next morning, he called her, spoke to her, and then that evening, he took her to the ATM. Well, didn't take her to the ATM, ended up just giving her money, and then the next day was his birthday. So this is day number 3. So we're 72 hours into them meeting each other. He got me a dress, and it was a fun night. He told me about his child and his baby mama, but he said he doesn't live with them. Although she lives in a house he bought, he lives in an apartment. I asked him what he wanted with me, as in his intention, which he said he wants me for something serious. So I agreed, and we started a relationship. Chad, I don't want you guys to think I'm exaggerating. This is quite legitimately day number 3. We are 72 hours into them even discovering each other's existence, and they are now boyfriend and girlfriend on day number 3. Day number 1, he saw her on the side of the road, asked her if she wanted to ride. She said no. Day number 2, he took her to the ATM, gave her some money. Day number 3, it was his birthday. They went out for a birthday dinner, and now they're boyfriend and girlfriend in 72 hours. Congratulations. Wow. Congratulations. What's your name here? Sugar. This is the fastest, relationship I've ever seen in the Discord. 72 hours is our new record for boyfriend and girlfriend. Okay? Horrible decision and horrible thing to say yes to. Also, horribly super red flag, but congratulations, that's the record. Okay? First 2 weeks was nice. Sure, I mean, he's only 2 weeks old to you. You literally haven't met him at all. It's funny. On the 3rd night, do you even know his last name? Do you even know his real name? Because he could have given you a nickname. Wow. But we always have something to fight over. I wonder why. Probably because you don't know each other and you're still strangers. He accused me of infidelity because a friend visited me in my apartment, and when he came there, I apologized for days and told him I love him. You told him you love him? And don't want to lose him, which I regret now because since then it looks like I'm the one chasing him. He had paid someone in my area who tells him whenever a car picks me up or drops me at my home. He is insecure, yes, but he doesn't want to act right. He calls and gets mad whenever this happens. Chat, are we going to give Sugar the award for dating the craziest man? I have never even fathomed this as a possibility to do. To get someone to watch you 24/7 and say whether or not someone's picking you up or dropping you off. Wow. That might take the cake for the craziest boyfriend. That really might take the cake. I am quite shocked, and quite even more shocked that you would not say to yourself, probably someone that I shouldn't be in a relationship with. I'm quite shocked that you couldn't pull yourself out of this, or you didn't see how this could go wrong. Right now, he has moved in with his baby mama, but he doesn't want me to know. She lives close to my house, and he uses the road in front of my house. Whenever he comes to my place, he either turns back as if he's going to his apartment, or waits till I enter my apartment before he lives, but I always watch him drive to his baby mama's house. These days, he only calls me at night and I always answer. I mean, obviously, he's with his baby mom during the day. Does he even have a job? Last night, I intentionally didn't pick up any of his 4 calls, and I didn't intend to call back. But at the same time, I don't want to end the relationship. Why? What are you getting from it? Sugar, what are you getting from the relationship? What are you getting? You haven't described, aside from the dress you got on that one date, you haven't told me anything else that you're getting. He claims he isn't sleeping with his baby mother. Yeah. All right. But he's staying with her now, and he doesn't want me talking to other men, but he isn't acting right. So he wants his cake and he wants to eat it too, basically. But before then, the baby mama and her mom staying. Wait, what? The baby mama had her mom staying with her, but the woman has left the house, leaving my boyfriend, moving back with her. It's a bit complicated, and I don't know what to do, if I should still ignore him until he changes or just move on. I asked him for a breakup before. He didn't mind and called, acting like everything was good. What do you mean you asked for a breakup? You just break up with someone. You don't ask them for it. Oh my gosh. You need a lot of there's so many things wrong with this situation that you're in, and I'm shocked that you can't identify any of them. But all in all, you need to never speak to this guy again. You're not like, chat, I would love for you women to, because I just think that sometimes I'm not able to step into the mind frame of some of you sometimes, because when you guys send me messages and I read it in detail and you tell me like 15 different red flags, and then in this process of your message, there is never one thing that's actually working out in this relationship. And then at the end of it, you guys say, but I don't want to end this relationship. I always ask myself, what are you even gaining from this? Like, even if you say, oh, but I love that guy, what is it that you love about the person? And this is why I say, I feel like sometimes, in some cases, some of you are attached to literally thin air. And I'm like, what are you actually loving? There's no way you love how he mistreats you. There's no way you love how he disrespects you. There's no way you love that he lives with his baby mother. There's no way you love how he's been lying to you about where he's staying. There's no way you love how he's being so inconsistent with you. There's no way you love how you feel lied to in the relationship. There's no way you love how he's going behind your back. There's no way you love how you think he's sleeping with his baby mother at this point in time. So I'm like, what is it that you love that you feel like you don't want to leave this relationship? And I'm just like, I'd be trying to put it together in my mind, but like it makes my head hurt when I try to think about it, because I cannot, for the life of me, I cannot understand it. You can have love with someone that doesn't put you through this. And I know it's easier said than done, but like the first step is just getting away from that person. You understand what I'm saying? I know it sounds easier said than done, but the only way you can move forward is if you like wean yourself off of this person. And the only way to truly do that is to never give them access to you again. You got to block them, so you have to forget about them. Okay? And a lot of times when I say block, guys, you guys are thinking I mean block just so that he can't contact you. But for a lot of you, the situation is I want you to block him so that you can actually move forward. Because when you block someone, you don't see their messages anymore. You don't see their picture anymore. You don't see them post anymore. You don't hear from them anymore. It actually allows you to like finally start to move forward. Because when you're in it, it's very hard to realize how little you are getting from the person and how much better your life will be without them. But as time goes on and your self-esteem increases and your anxiety decreases, you'll realize the best thing I ever did was stop speaking to that person. Okay, so I think for you, in your case, Sugar, the first thing you need to do is block him on everything. Number, email, text, delete the Netflix, delete anything that ties you to him, right? And anticipate if he's super crazy, he might show up at your door. But I want you to keep ignoring as long as you possibly can, because you need to get rid of this guy out of your life so that you can actually start moving forward and thinking about you for once. Because nothing about what do you expect me to say? I'm supposed to give you advice on how to be with the guy that does nothing for you? I'm supposed to give you advice on how to be with the guy that disrespects you? What am I supposed to say? There's magic words that you can say or a magic potion you can pour on him and make him drink that will magically make him act right or treat you right? That's not how that works. So if a guy doesn't treat you right and he doesn't know how to be a good boyfriend, you stand up for yourself, and you make the decision to say, if you can't show up for me how I expect you to show up for me, you're done. You don't get any more access to me. Sugar, unfortunately, I'm just a human being, right? A regular person with skin who poops and eats cereal. So I can't give you a magic potion that will make a guy who has no intention of acting right and has not shown you at all that he has any intention of actually being a good boyfriend to magically turn into a good boyfriend. He doesn't want to be, he doesn't seem like he desires to be, and he hasn't been being that. So at that point, it's your job to say, if you can be that, then you can't have access to me anymore. Okay? All right, guys, that's the show for today. If I didn't answer your question, don't fret. There's lots more days where I answer questions. I do this every single day. If you want to send in your question and you want me to answer it ASAP, feel free to go into Relationship Advice Premium section where you can ask your question, but make sure that you donate to the show before you ask your question or as soon as you ask your question, because I'm verifying whether or not you're donating to the show if you're going to be in Relationship Advice Premium, because you get to skip the line of 100 people. And if you're going to skip the line, it has to be fair to them that you're donating to the show. Okay, so make sure you're doing that if you're in Relationship Advice Premium. For those of you who want, I just spit everywhere. That was nasty. Maybe some of you guys like that. For those of you who want access, do you want to see my Instagram so you can see everything I'm doing at all times of the day? My Instagram is available at the top left of the screen right there, and you can get it. You can follow me, and you can see me all day, every day, okay? For those of you who are on YouTube, my Instagram is down there at the bottom right of the screen. For those of you who are on TikTok and you missed part of the show or you want to rewatch parts of the show, it's all available on my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is just my name. It's right above my head on the top right side of the screen. That's why I'm pointing up there. You can get access to my YouTube channel, and once you go into the live section, when you type it in or you screenshot this and put it in, you'll be able to see this live show along with all the other previous live shows I've done since the beginning of time. And the best part is that you'll be able to have access to the YouTube chat and the TikTok chat embedded in the show, so you won't miss any of the conversation that's going on in the show. All right, guys, until we meet again, I'm here every weekday, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern time. So I'll be here again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern time. But until we meet again tomorrow, goodbye, arrivederci, Au revoir, hasta la vista, adios, bon voyage. And I will see you again tomorrow at exactly 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay? Bye for now.